The phone vibrates in my purse as I sit in the front pew, tears streaming down my face. My sister's casket gleams under the church lights, her portrait smiling serenely beside it. I know it's Greg calling without even looking. He's been blowing up my phone since I left for the funeral this morning, demanding I come home to play hostess for his family gathering. I step outside to answer, bracing myself. "Where the hell are you?" Greg snarls through the phone. "You need to leave that funeral right now and get back here. My mother and cousins are waiting." "Greg, please," I whisper, my voice shaking. "It's my sister's funeral. I need to be here for my family." "I don't care. You have responsibilities at home. If you're not back here in an hour, don't bother coming back at all. I'll send you divorce papers tomorrow." The call ends abruptly. I lean against the cold stone wall, my body trembling. 10 years of marriage to Greg, and it's come to this. Threats and ultimatums on the day I bury my sister. I think back to how we met in college, how he swept me off my feet with grand romantic gestures. I was young and naive, mistaking his possessiveness for love. Soon after our wedding, he convinced me to quit my job and become a housewife, while his domineering mother Janice constantly criticized my every move. Slowly, insidiously, they chipped away at my confidence and independence. The church doors creak open, and my brother-in-law Steve emerges. "Lana? Is everything okay?" I shake my head, fresh tears spilling over. Steve puts a comforting arm around my shoulders as I pour out the details of Greg's latest threat. "This isn't right," Steve says firmly. "No one should be treated this way, especially by their husband. You need to put your foot down with Greg." "How? He controls everything, the money, the house, and he'll turn our son against me if I try to leave, just like his mother did to him." Steve looks me straight in the eye. "Lana, listen to me. You are stronger than you know. Don't let them bully you anymore. If not for yourself, then for Mason. He needs you to stand up and show him this isn't normal or okay." I let out a shuddering breath. Deep down, I know Steve is right. For years, I've made excuses, hoping Greg would change. But the cycle of control and cruelty only gets worse. I think of my bright, sweet boy, and my heart clenches. I can't let him grow up thinking this is what a marriage should be. "I'll try," I promise Steve. "I don't know how, but I'll try to be strong. For Mason and for myself." As we walk back into the church, I square my shoulders, preparing for the battle ahead. Confronting Greg and Janice won't be easy, but for the first time in a decade, I feel a flicker of determination amid the fear. I will find a way to break free, no matter what it takes. For my son and for the woman I used to be, the one I'm slowly discovering still exists beneath the years of oppression. This is just the beginning. After the funeral, I find myself lingering in the church parking lot, dreading the confrontation waiting for me at home. Steve approaches, his brow furrowed with concern. "Lana, I couldn't help overhearing your conversation with Greg earlier," he says. "The way he spoke to you, it's not right. No one deserves to be treated like that." I avert my gaze, shame burning in my throat. "It's fine, Steve. I'm used to it." "But you shouldn't be," he insists. "Lana, I know it's not my place, but I care about you, and I can see how much you're hurting. You need to stand up for yourself." Tears sting my eyes. "I don't know how. Greg, he controls everything. The money, the house. He's even threatened to turn our son against me if I try to leave." Steve's jaw clenches. "That's not love, Lana. That's abuse. You deserve so much better." His words hit me like a punch to the gut. Deep down, I've always known the truth, but hearing someone else say it out loud makes it impossible to ignore. "I'm scared," I whisper. "Greg and his mother, they've broken me down for so long. I don't know if I have the strength to fight back." Steve places a hand on my shoulder, his eyes fierce with determination. "You're stronger than you think, and you don't have to do this alone. I'm here for you, and I know your family will support you too." I take a deep, shaky breath. "Thank you, Steve. I don't know what I'd do without you." "You've got this, Lana. One step at a time, and remember, you're not just doing this for yourself, you're doing it for Mason too." His words echo in my mind as I drive home, my heart pounding in my chest. He's right. I can't let my son grow up thinking this is normal. I have to be strong, for both of us. When I pull into the driveway, Greg is waiting on the porch, his face twisted with anger. Janice hovers behind him, her lips pursed in disapproval. "Where the hell have you been?" Greg demands as I climb out of the car. I told you to come home hours ago. I square my shoulders, meeting his gaze head on. I was at my sister's funeral, Greg. Where I needed to be. Needed to be? He scoffs. What about what I need? What about your responsibilities here? I have a responsibility to my family, too, I say, my voice trembling slightly, and I'm done letting you control every aspect of my life. Greg's eyes narrow. What did you just say to me? I take a step forward, my heart hammering against my ribs. I want a divorce, Greg. I can't live like this anymore. Rage contorts his features. You ungrateful bitch, he snarls, raising his hand as if to strike me. I flinch, bracing for the blow, but it doesn't come. Instead, Janice steps forward, her voice dripping with venom. If you even think about leaving, I'll make sure you never see your son again, she hisses. I'll turn him against you so fast your head will spin. Fear claws at my throat, but I force myself to stand my ground. No, you won't. I won't let you poison him the way you've poisoned Greg. Greg's face reddens with fury. You're not going anywhere, he growls. You're nothing without me. Do you understand? Nothing. I look him straight in the eye, a newfound strength surging through me. You're wrong, Greg. I'm everything without you, and I'm done being your punching bag. With that, I turn on my heel and march inside, slamming the door behind me. My hands shake as I lean against it, adrenaline coursing through my veins. I know this is just the beginning. Greg and Janice won't let me go without a fight, but for the first time in years, I feel a flicker of hope amid the fear. I'm ready to take my life back, no matter what it takes. The moment I step inside the house, Greg is on me like a rabid dog. He grabs my arm, his fingers digging into my skin hard enough to leave bruises. You think you can just walk away? He snarls, his face inches from mine. After everything I've done for you? I try to pull away, but his grip only tightens. Let go of me, Greg. Not until you come to your senses. You're not leaving me, Lana. I won't allow it. Janice appears in the doorway, her arms crossed over her chest. You should be grateful Greg ever married you in the first place, she sneers. Who else would want a pathetic, useless woman like you? Anger flares in my chest, hot and bright. I'm not useless, I snap, and I'm not gonna let you treat me like this anymore. Greg barks out a harsh laugh. Oh, really? And what are you gonna do, huh? You have no money, no job, no skills. You're nothing without me. I wrench my arm out of his grasp, my skin throbbing. I'll figure it out. Anything is better than living like this. Janice steps forward, her eyes glittering with malice. If you even think about leaving, I'll make sure you never see Mason again. I'll tell him what a selfish, horrible mother you are. He'll hate you forever. My stomach twists at the thought of losing my son. You can't do that. The courts won't let you. Courts? Greg scoffs. You really think you can afford a lawyer? I control all the money, remember? And I'll make sure you don't see a dime. Fear claws at my throat, but I force myself to stand tall. I have friends, family. They'll help me. Janice laughs, cold and cruel. Your family? They've never approved of you, Lana. They think you're a failure. And your friends? What friends? We're all you have. Tears sting my eyes, but I blink them back. I won't let them see me break. That's not true. I have people who care about me, who believe in me. Greg's face twists with rage. You ungrateful bitch, he spits. After everything I've given you, this is how you repay me? By tearing our family apart? You tore this family apart the moment you laid hands on me, I say, my voice shaking. The moment you decided your ego was more important than your wife and child. Greg's hand shoots out, grabbing me by the throat. I gasp, clawing at his fingers as he slams me against the wall. You're not going anywhere, he growls, his breath hot against my face. You belong to me. Do you understand? You'll never escape me. Black spots dance in my vision as I struggle for air. Just as I'm about to pass out, Greg releases me, letting me crumple to the floor. Get out of my sight, he snarls, and if you ever try to leave again, I'll make you regret it. I stagger to my feet, my throat burning with every breath. Janice smirks at me as I stumble past her, her eyes gleaming with triumph. I make it to the bedroom before I break down, sobs tearing from my chest. I bury my face in my hands, my whole body shaking with the force of my grief. How did I let it get this far? How did I let them break me down so completely? But even as despair threatens to swallow me whole, a tiny spark of defiance flickers in my chest. They may have beaten me down, but they haven't broken me. Not yet. I think of Mason, of the bright, beautiful boy who deserves so much better than this. I think of my sister, of the strength and courage she always saw in me, even when I couldn't see it myself. I may be trapped, but I'm not helpless. I'll find a way out of this, no matter what it takes. For Mason, for myself, for the life I know we both deserve. Greg and Janice have underestimated me for the last time. They think they can control me, but they're wrong. I'm done being their victim. It's time to fight back. The next morning, I slip out of the house before Greg and Janice wake up, my heart pounding in my chest. I drive to a nearby coffee shop and pull out my phone with shaking hands. I scroll through my contacts until I find Olivia's number. She's a divorce lawyer and an old friend of my sister's. I hesitate for a moment, fear twisting in my gut. What if she doesn't believe me? What if she thinks I'm overreacting? I take a deep breath and hit the call button. Olivia answers on the second ring, her voice warm and friendly. Lana, it's been a while. How are you holding up? I swallow hard, tears stinging my eyes. Olivia, I need your help. I want to leave Greg, but he's threatening to take my son away from me. There's a pause on the other end of the line. Lana, are you safe right now? Is Greg with you? No, I'm alone. But he's been abusive, Olivia, physically and emotionally, and his mother is just as bad. They've been controlling every aspect of my life for years. Olivia's voice is gentle but firm. Lana, I'm so sorry you're going through this, but you're doing the right thing by reaching out for help. No one deserves to be treated that way. Relief washes over me, so strong it nearly knocks me off my feet. Thank you, Olivia. I didn't know who else to turn to. You did the right thing, she assures me. Now, here's what we're going to do. I want you to start documenting everything. The abuse, the threats, the financial control. Keep a journal, take photos of any injuries, save any threatening messages or emails. I nod, even though she can't see me. Okay, I can do that. Good. And I'm going to start putting together an escape plan for you and Mason. We'll need to be careful, but I promise you, Lana, we'll get you out of there. Tears spill down my cheeks. Thank you, Olivia. I don't know how I'll ever repay you. You don't have to repay me, she says firmly. Just focus on staying safe and gathering evidence. I'll handle the rest. We hang up a few minutes later, and I sit in my car, my mind racing. I know documenting the abuse won't be easy. Greg is careful not to leave visible marks, and Janice is a master at twisting my words against me. But I also know I can't keep living like this. I can't let Mason grow up thinking this is normal, that this is what love looks like. I drive home in a daze, my heart hammering in my chest. When I walk through the front door, Greg is waiting for me, his eyes narrowed with suspicion. Where were you? He demands, his voice low and dangerous. I force myself to meet his gaze, my chin lifted defiantly. I went for a drive. I needed some air. He takes a step towards me, his fists clenched at his sides. You didn't think to ask permission first? Anger flares in my chest, hot and bright. I don't need your permission to leave the house, Greg. I'm not your prisoner. His face twists with rage, and for a moment I think he's going to hit me. But instead, he grabs my arm, his fingers digging into my skin. You're my wife, he snarls. You'll do as I say, or there will be consequences. I wrench my arm out of his grasp, my heart pounding. I'm not afraid of you anymore, Greg, and I'm not going to let you control me any longer. With that, I turn on my heel and march upstairs, slamming the bedroom door behind me. My hands shake as I pull out my phone and start typing up everything that just happened. It's not much, but it's a start. A tiny crack in the facade of our perfect marriage, a glimmer of hope in the darkness. I know the road ahead won't be easy. Greg and Janice will fight me every step of the way, will try to break me down until there's nothing left. But I also know I'm not alone anymore. I have Olivia in my corner, and the truth on my side. And for the first time in years, I feel something stirring in my chest. A flicker of strength, of determination. I'm ready to take my life back, one piece at a time, and heaven help anyone who tries to stop me. Over the next few weeks, I pour all my energy into documenting Greg's abuse and gathering evidence of his financial misconduct. I take photos of the bruises on my arms, save threatening voicemails and emails, and keep a detailed journal of every incident. But the more I stand up for myself, the more volatile Greg becomes. He flies into rages over the smallest things, smashing dishes and punching holes in the walls. Janice only adds fuel to the fire, whispering poisonous words in his ear and reminding me of my place. One evening, I come home from a meeting with Olivia to find Greg waiting for me in the living room, a cruel smile on his face. "I've been doing some thinking," he says, his voice deceptively calm, "and I've decided you don't need a car anymore, or a phone, for that matter." My stomach drops. "What are you talking about?" He holds up my keys and my cell phone, dangling them in front of me like a cat toying with a mouse. "I'm cutting you off, Lana. No more sneaking around behind my back. No more secret meetings with your little friends." Panic rises in my throat. "Greg, you can't do this. I need my car to take Mason to school, to run errands, and my phone is my only lifeline." He laughs, cold and cruel. "You don't need a lifeline. You have me, remember? I'm all you need." Rage boils up inside me, hot and fierce. "Give me my keys and my phone, Greg. Now." His eyes flash with anger, and he takes a step towards me. "Or what? What are you going to do, Lana? Run crying to your lawyer friend? Go ahead, tell her how I'm such a monster for trying to keep my family together." I stand my ground, my heart pounding in my chest. "Olivia knows the truth, Greg. She knows exactly what kind of man you are, and she's going to help me leave you, no matter what it takes." His face twists with rage, and he grabs me by the shoulders, shaking me hard. "You're not going anywhere, do you hear me? You're mine, Lana. Mine." I shove him away, my whole body trembling. "I'm not your property, Greg. I'm a human being, with my own thoughts and feelings and desires, and I'm done letting you control me." He stares at me for a long moment, his eyes dark with fury. Then he turns and storms out of the room, slamming the door behind him. I sink to the floor, my legs giving out beneath me. Tears stream down my face as I wrap my arms around myself, trying to hold myself together. I know I can't back down now. Greg will never let me go willingly, will never admit to his own cruelty and abuse. If I want to be free, I'll have to fight for it with everything I have. The next day, I meet with the private investigator Olivia hired to look into Greg's financial dealings. He hands me a thick folder, his face grim. "It's all there," he says. "Bank statements, emails, recordings of phone calls. Your husband has been embezzling money from his company for years, funneling it into offshore accounts." I flip through the pages, my heart racing. With this evidence, I can not only secure a divorce, but also make sure Greg faces the consequences of his actions. I thank the investigator and head home, the folder tucked safely in my purse. When I walk through the front door, Greg is waiting for me, his face twisted with suspicion. "Where have you been?" he demands. I meet his gaze head-on, my chin lifted defiantly. "I was taking care of some business. Business that's going to change everything, Greg." His eyes narrow, but before he can say anything, I push past him and head upstairs. I lock myself in the bedroom and pull out my phone, dialing Olivia's number with shaking fingers. "It's time," I say when she answers. "I have the evidence we need. Let's take this bastard down." Olivia's voice is fierce with determination. "I'm on my way, Lana. Hang tight. We're going to end this once and for all." I hang up the phone and take a deep breath, my heart pounding in my chest. The final showdown is coming, and I'm ready to face it head-on. Greg and Janice may think they've beaten me down, but they have no idea what I'm capable of. They've underestimated me for the last time. It's time to show them what a woman scorned can do. The confrontation comes sooner than I expect. I'm in the kitchen, making dinner and trying to calm my racing heart when Greg storms in, his face twisted with rage. "You stupid bitch," he snarls, slamming his fist on the counter. "You think you can outsmart me? You think you can destroy everything I've built?" I take a step back, my heart pounding. "What are you talking about, Greg?" He holds up his phone, his eyes blazing. "I just got a call from my boss. He says there's been an investigation into my finances, that they found evidence of embezzlement and fraud." My stomach drops. The private investigator must have tipped off Greg's company. I knew it was a risk, but I didn't expect it to happen so fast. "Greg, I don't know what you're talking about," I stammer, trying to keep my voice steady. He grabs me by the arm, his fingers digging into my skin. "Don't lie to me, Lana. I know you're behind this. You and that lawyer friend of yours, trying to ruin me." I wrench my arm out of his grasp, anger boiling up inside me. "You ruined yourself, Greg. You're the one who's been stealing money, lying to everyone. You're the one who's been abusing me for years." His face twists with rage, and he lunges at me, his hands wrapping around my throat. I gasp for air, clawing at his fingers as he slams me against the wall. "You're nothing without me," he hisses, his breath hot against my face. "You're a pathetic, worthless piece of shit, and you always will be." Black spots dance in my vision as I struggle to breathe. I'm about to pass out when suddenly the front door bursts open and Olivia rushes in, followed by 2 police officers. "Get your hands off her, you son of a bitch," Olivia shouts, her voice shaking with fury. Greg releases me, and I crumple to the floor, gasping for air. The police officers grab him by the arms, wrestling him into handcuffs as he screams obscenities. "Lana, are you okay?" Olivia kneels beside me, her face etched with concern. I nod, tears streaming down my face. "I'm okay. I can't believe it's over." She helps me to my feet, her arm around my waist. "It's not over yet, honey, but we've got him. We've got all the evidence we need to put him away for a long time." I watch as the police officers drag Greg out of the house, his face twisted with rage and hatred. Janice stands in the doorway, her eyes wide with shock. "What have you done?" she whispers, her voice trembling. I meet her gaze head-on, my chin lifted defiantly. "I've taken my life back, Janice, and there's nothing you or Greg can do to stop me." She stares at me for a long moment, then turns and walks away, her shoulders slumped in defeat. I turn to Olivia, my heart swelling with gratitude. "Thank you," I whisper, my voice choked with tears, "for everything." She hugs me tight, her own eyes glistening. "You did this, Lana. You had the strength and the courage to stand up for yourself, to fight back against the monsters who tried to break you." I take a deep, shuddering breath, feeling like a weight has been lifted off my chest. "What happens now?" Olivia smiles, fierce and determined. "Now, we make sure Greg pays for what he's done. We make sure he never hurts you or anyone else ever again." I nod, a flicker of hope igniting in my chest. For the first time in years, I feel like I can breathe again. Like I'm finally free. There's still a long road ahead of me, I know. The divorce, the custody battle, the criminal trial. But with Olivia by my side and the truth on my side, I know I can face anything. Greg thought he could break me, could control me forever. But he underestimated me. He underestimated the strength and resilience of a woman pushed to her limits. And now, he's going to pay the price. One way or another, I'll make sure of it. The divorce hearing is a brutal, drawn-out affair. Greg and Janice pull out all the stops, slinging mud and lies in a desperate attempt to paint me as an unfit mother. Janice takes the stand first, her face a mask of false concern. "Lana has always been unstable," she says, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. "She's prone to fits of hysteria, to wild mood swings. I worry for Mason's safety in her care." I clench my fists under the table, anger boiling up inside me. How dare she try to twist the truth, to make me out to be the villain in this story? But Olivia is prepared. She presents the judge with the evidence we've gathered, the photos of my bruises, the threatening messages from Greg, the financial records proving his misconduct. "Mrs. Thompson," Olivia says, her voice calm and measured, "can you explain why you never reported your concerns about Lana's supposed instability to the authorities or sought help for her?" Janice sputters, her face turning red. I didn't want to cause trouble. I thought I could handle it myself." Olivia nods, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "I see. And can you explain why, if Lana was so unstable, you encouraged your son to marry her and start a family?" Janice opens and closes her mouth like a fish out of water, unable to come up with a response. Next, it's Greg's turn on the stand. He tries to paint himself as the victim, as the long-suffering husband who only wanted to keep his family together. But Olivia is relentless. She grills him on the abuse, on the financial misconduct, on the years of control and manipulation. "Mr. Thompson," she says, her voice hard as steel, "can you explain to the court why you felt the need to monitor your wife's every move, to cut her off from her friends and family, to control every aspect of her life?" Greg's face turns purple with rage. "I was protecting her," he snarls. "She's weak, she's easily led astray. I was doing what was best for her." Olivia scoffs, shaking her head. "No, Mr. Thompson, you were doing what was best for you. You were exerting your power and control over a woman you saw as your property, not your partner." The judge listens to the testimony, his face impassive. But I can see the disgust in his eyes, the anger at the way I've been treated. When it's my turn to take the stand, I tell my story with a steady voice and a clear head. I talk about the abuse, the fear, the helplessness. I talk about the strength it took to break free, to fight back against the monsters who tried to break me. And then I play my trump card. I present the judge with the recordings I've been making in secret. Recordings of Greg's abuse, of Janice's manipulation, of their lies and deceit. The courtroom goes silent as my words echo through the speakers. Greg's face drains of color, and Janice looks like she's going to be sick. The judge listens to the recordings, his face growing darker by the second. When they're finished, he turns to Greg and Janice, his eyes blazing with fury. "In all my years on the bench," he says, his voice shaking with anger, "I have never seen a more clear-cut case of abuse and manipulation. The evidence presented here today leaves no doubt in my mind that Mrs. Thompson has been the victim of a sustained campaign of terror and control at the hands of her husband and mother-in-law." He turns to me, his face softening. "Mrs. Thompson, I am so sorry for what you have endured. You have shown incredible strength and courage in the face of unimaginable adversity. I am granting you full custody of your son, as well as a significant portion of your husband's assets as compensation for the abuse you have suffered." Tears stream down my face as the weight of his words sinks in. I've won. I've beaten Greg and Janice at their own game, and I've taken back my life. I turn to Olivia, my heart swelling with gratitude. "Thank you," I whisper, my voice choked with emotion. "For everything." She hugs me tight, her own eyes glistening. "You did this, Lana. You had the strength and the courage to stand up for yourself, to fight back against the monsters who tried to break you." I take a deep, shuddering breath, feeling like a weight has been lifted off my chest. For the first time in years, I feel like I can breathe again, like I'm finally free. The road ahead won't be easy, I know. There's still healing to be done, still wounds to be mended. But with Mason by my side and the truth on my side, I know I can face anything. Greg and Janice thought they could break me, could control me forever. But they underestimated me. They underestimated the strength and resilience of a woman pushed to her limits. And now, they're paying the price. One way or another, justice has been served. 10 years later, I hardly recognize the woman staring back at me in the mirror. The lines around my eyes are deeper, the gray in my hair more pronounced, but there's a lightness to my step and a joy in my heart that I never thought I'd feel again. After the divorce, I threw myself into rebuilding my life. I went back to school, got my degree in social work, and started a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping women escape abusive relationships. It wasn't easy, juggling my studies and my work with being a single mother to Mason. But every time I felt like giving up, I remembered the strength it took to leave Greg, to fight back against the monsters who tried to break me. And Mason, my beautiful, brilliant boy. He's grown into a kind, compassionate young man with a heart as big as the sky. He's the light of my life, the reason I wake up every morning with a smile on my face. We're having breakfast together one sunny Saturday morning when there's a knock at the door. I open it to find a man I barely recognize, gaunt, haggard, with a haunted look in his eyes. It takes me a moment to realize it's Greg. "What are you doing here?" I ask, my voice cold and hard. He shifts from foot to foot, unable to meet my gaze. I just wanted to see you, to talk to you." I cross my arms over my chest, my heart pounding. "We have nothing to talk about, Greg. You lost that right a long time ago." He nods, his shoulders slumping. "I know. I wanted to apologize for everything I put you through, for the way I treated you." I stare at him, my mind reeling. Is this some kind of trick, some new manipulation? But the look in his eyes is genuine, the remorse and shame palpable. "I've lost everything," he says, his voice choked with emotion. "My job, my money, my reputation. Even Janice won't speak to me anymore. I've hit rock bottom, and I know it's no one's fault but my own." I feel a flicker of satisfaction at his words, a sense of vindication, but it's tempered by a strange sense of pity, a realization that the man standing before me is a shell of his former self. "I'm sorry, Greg," I say, my voice softening, "but I can't forgive you. I can't forget what you did to me, the years of abuse and control." He nods, his eyes filling with tears. "I understand. I needed you to know that I'm sorry, that I take responsibility for my actions, and that I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be a better man." I watch as he turns and walks away, his shoulders hunched against the wind. And for a moment, I feel a flicker of something like closure, a sense that the past is finally truly behind me. I close the door and turn to find Mason standing in the hallway, his face etched with concern. "Was that Dad?" he asks, his voice trembling. I nod, my heart aching for the pain and confusion I see in his eyes. He just wanted to apologize, to take responsibility for what he did to us. Mason is quiet for a long moment, his brow furrowed in thought. "Do you think he meant it? That he's really sorry?" I sigh, running a hand through my hair. "I don't know, honey, but what I do know is that we've built a good life for ourselves, a life filled with love and joy and purpose, and nothing and no one can take that away from us." Mason nods, a small smile playing at the corners of his mouth. "I'm proud of you, Mom, for being so strong, for never giving up on us." I wrap my arms around him, holding him close. "I'm proud of you too, Mason, for being the kind, compassionate, amazing young man you are." We stand there for a long moment, basking in the warmth of each other's love, and as I look out the window at the bright blue sky, I feel a sense of peace wash over me, a knowledge that I've finally, truly won. Greg may have lost everything, but I've gained more than I ever dreamed possible. I've gained my freedom, my self-respect, my sense of purpose, and most importantly, I've gained a love that will last a lifetime, the love of my son and the love of myself. It's been a long, hard road to get here. But as I stand in the sunlight, my heart full and my head held high, I know that every step of the journey was worth it. I am a survivor, I am a warrior, and I am finally truly free. Truly free. Truly free. Truly free.